Since its release just a few months ago, the Cybertruck has been turning heads all across the United States. Love it or hate it, Tesla has released one of the most interesting and unique vehicles that we've ever seen. After getting the chance to drive it myself, I can confirm Tesla has really made something special here. I think it's a great product that drives well and delivers a ton of great features in a style all its own. However, with any new product launch comes the hiccups, and this truck has been getting a lot of attention for the problems that it undoubtedly has. Today we're going to break down the main issues that people have had with their Cybertrucks, so let's get into it. First, let's talk about range. When this truck was first announced, Tesla made a very bold claim that it would deliver a 500-mile range option. That's something they had never delivered on any car before, and the Cybertruck was much bigger than any car they'd ever shipped. While that may soon be possible with an upcoming range extender, to a degree, the currently available max range sits at 340 miles for all-wheel drive. That's still a pretty respectable range for an EV, especially one its size, but it does raise the question as to how far people will actually be able to get when driving it. EPA estimated EV ranges are always higher than what most people really experience. They represent a theoretical maximum that relies on its absolute best case scenario when driving. Most people can get by with a little bit less range, but for a truck that is designed for off-roading and heavy-duty work, it's crucial that it gets it right. Once this truck started getting into customer hands, we got our first look as to what this truck could do. Out-of-spec reviews put the Cybertruck through its paces, taking it on a range test from 100% down to 0%. Going highway speeds, this truck was able to travel 254 miles before the battery was completely depleted. That is definitely quite a bit lower than the EPA estimates, but it's important to remember a few things. As I mentioned, this test was done entirely at freeway speeds, which has a negative impact on range. Also, this test was done in relatively cold weather at an average of 46 degrees Fahrenheit. All EV batteries are impacted by cold weather, so this would definitely be higher when driving in warmer climates. While this certainly wasn't an ideal operating temperature, it does raise questions about how it would perform in even colder climates, a reality for a lot of people across North America. A Cybertruck owner has managed to clock in 10,000 miles on their own truck since taking delivery, and their reported ranges were even less ideal. On average, their truck was getting only 206 miles from a full charge, and 164 miles when starting from 80%, Tesla's recommendation. All EV ranges are very dependent on a lot of factors, from the way that they are driven down to every detail of their real-world driving conditions. The drivers of this vehicle noted that they were fairly aggressive behind the wheel and weren't babying the truck, however. That style of driving is going to have a big impact on the range of any vehicle, electric or gas-powered. Towing capacity has been a very prominent aspect of the marketing for this car, and Tesla has been very proud to show it off. Its 11,000-pound towing capacity is the first statistic shown on its webpage, and its truck pull was a central video shown at the delivery event. It's clearly a powerful truck, but we have to ask how far it can actually travel while towing that much. Jerry Rig Everything put this truck to the test in the absolute worst towing conditions, pulling an 11,000-pound trailer, its max capacity, in freezing cold weather conditions. Starting with a completely full battery, he was only able to drive for 90 miles before depleting the 123 kilowatt-hour battery down to just a 2% charge. With all of these factors combined, this range is really as bad as it can get. If you got that extra 2% in, you'd probably be at 103 miles total. Very few Cybertruck owners themselves will actually be in these circumstances, but for anyone who was hoping to use this truck as a long-haul towing vehicle, it's still disappointing nonetheless, especially since Tesla set the precedent of a 500-mile range, which even when cut in half would still get you 250. Another test showed the Cybertruck getting 160 miles of range in much fairer weather while pulling a 6,000-pound trailer. That's certainly a lot better, but definitely not an ideal range for towing cross-country. While the Cybertruck is very well equipped for towing, its range leaves a lot to be desired for that task. That's where their upcoming range extender may come into play. We haven't gotten a true look at this upcoming product, but it is a large battery that will need to be installed into the truck's bed that will raise the max range up to 470 miles. Again, that's EPA though, so in the real world could be quite a bit less. This battery does bring this truck's range much more closely in line with Tesla's original presentation, but it does come with some pretty big trade-offs. First, the battery will take up approximately a third of the truck's bed, meaning that getting that added range will sacrifice some of the truck's other utility. Second, this battery is going to cost about $16,000 to purchase and install. That's definitely a tough price tag to swallow, and if you install it on the most popular trim, the Cyber Beast, that brings your total price tag up to $115,990, assuming you're not getting the Foundation series. That's almost $50,000 more expensive than the top tier of this truck from when it was announced in 2019, for a range and towing capacity that still doesn't quite meet that promise. Tesla hasn't shown off any official prototypes of this range extender, and at this point there's a lot of information we don't know. We don't know how much it will weigh or whether it will be a permanent install. It seems likely to be a permanent install, and that will be disappointing that customers will have to make a permanent choice between having full access to the bed of their pickup truck or having an extended range. At this point, we're not entirely sure when this battery pack will be released. While the towing and range specs we've listed so far will probably be far more than enough for average customers, certain drivers may face difficulties doing the kinds of heavy-duty work that this truck was otherwise designed for with its base specs. Beyond towing, the other side of the Cybertruck's rugged design is its off-roading capability. While it certainly packs a ton of features for that purpose, some customers have reported issues with their truck's actual off-roading capabilities. This Cybertruck owner took it up on a trail, accompanied by a Subaru SUV and a Toyota 4Runner for a comparison, and it ran into some problems pretty early. This steep, rocky incline was handled very easily by the 4Runner and Subaru, but when it was the Cybertruck's turn, it couldn't make it up the hill for several attempts. The driver notes that he was an inexperienced off-roader, but software issues were likely the culprit behind this misstep. The truck's differential lock, a crucial feature for off-roading, could not be disabled, and at certain points the truck's software couldn't adjust to the rocky terrain. He notes that the rest of the journey down the mountain, the truck handled all of the remaining obstacles very well, but this vehicle undeniably has some issues that need to be resolved. However, since those issues are software-based, fixes can come very easily once an update is released. As far as software goes, when I was driving the truck, I did have some problems with the screen going completely dark. Others have reported similar issues, and this is a problem given how much information and utility is tied to the center console screen. It is usually fixable by restarting the car, but in our case we had to take it to service for a fix, which meant driving for a while without basically any information. That should be fixed now for future Cybertrucks, but it was a launch issue. On another note, since Tesla has made the side mirrors detachable and the rear view mirror is a non-functional mirror when the tonneau cover is closed, many drivers will rely on the screen to display cameras in lieu of mirrors. So really, it's essential that that screen does not go black. Another Cybertruck made the rounds online recently when it was spotted getting stuck going up a snowy hill. There's not a lot of information about this incident other than this brief video, but it raises a lot of questions and concerns about this truck's performance in the snow. Is this the result of a physical deficiency of the truck, a software issue, or was it due to an inexperienced driver? Off-roading is a very particular skill set, so a driver who is taking difficult terrain in their first heavy-duty vehicle could very easily get stuck no matter what kind of truck they were in. We can see in the same video that the driver doesn't have any snow chains on their tires as well. Other videos of the Cybertruck getting stuck in snow also show it with the wrong tires, so it's tough to know the truth about this situation regardless of how bad it looked from the outside. There's also the question of whether any kind of heavy truck might get stuck in a situation like this. In these kinds of situations, you get a lot of conflicting reporting from people who claim that their truck could have handled it and others saying any truck would have gotten stuck there. We can't know for sure until we get some more tests and widespread customer experience. After all, there are a lot of people out there who dislike this truck and Tesla who will take any problem with this truck as proof of an overall lack of quality. Keep in mind, for every publicized problem that it has, not as many people feel compelled to make posts and videos when their truck functions as expected. For many years, Tesla had a bit of a rough reputation when it came to the build quality of their vehicles. Early units for all of their vehicles had real problems with misaligned panels and poor quality control. I definitely experienced this with my early 2020 Model Y. Over the years, those problems have significantly decreased on their other models, but the Cybertruck has reignited conversation over Tesla's QC process. This truck has a very unique design with its stainless steel finish and long straight angled edges that would make panel issues stand out very glaringly. Elon Musk even sent a message to employees emphasizing the necessity to make this truck fit together perfectly. Now, from my personal experience with this truck, I was very impressed by its overall build quality. It's made of very nice materials, and the truck overall has a very high quality feel, especially inside. However, there have been reports from certain Cybertruck owners that have painted a bit of a different story. This truck belongs to one of the first normal customers who is not a Tesla employee or influencer. In these photos, he has detailed some pretty egregious issues with the overall construction of the vehicle. Door panels are very misaligned with the rest of the body, and in another photo, an entire rear quarter panel is jutting out from the back of the truck, almost like it's peeling away. These flaws are probably fixable at service, but body issues this large point to some big flaws somewhere in the assembly or quality control process. It's hard to imagine this car passing between every person involved in assembly, QC, transport, and delivery, and to not have these problems spotted and corrected. For a niche vehicle like this that costs over $100,000 for the currently available Foundation series, being produced in such small quantities, these issues should not be acceptable. Hopefully Tesla is in the process of working out these problems as they ramp production so that future customers don't have to face this problem on such an expensive truck. Then there are some issues that point to general flaws in the overall design. One of the most distinct features of this truck is its heavy-duty stainless steel exterior. We've seen a lot of videos about how well this rigid body can take an impact, whether it be from a sledgehammer, a frontal collision, or even being shot. However, impacts, it seems, are not really what you need to worry about when it comes to the Cybertruck's exterior. The vehicle's owner's manual states, quote, "To prevent damage to the exterior, immediately remove corrosive substances such as grease, oil, bird droppings, tree resin, dead insects, tar spots, road salt, industrial fallout, etc." It advises not to wait until your car is due for a full wash before cleaning off anything as simple as bird droppings or dead bugs. Of course, nobody wants any of these things on their car in the first place, and any normal paint needs this as well to be properly taken care of, but they are a reality of car ownership, especially if you park outside. They can all be damaging to any type of car, but since the Cybertruck is made of unfinished, unpainted metal, any damage would be to the body directly. Tesla does offer several wrap surfaces that would help protect this truck from that, but they do come at an additional cost. If you want your truck in either of the two available colors, black and white, then that will cost an additional $6,000. If you'd like to preserve the truck's original metallic look, a clear satin wrap will cost $5,000 from Tesla. On top of that, the Tesla wrapping service is currently only available at 2 service centers in Southern California. If you want it done otherwise, you will have to go to a third party. So while this truck is being advertised for its exceptional toughness and the fact that you really just park it outside, in some ways its body might even require more care than a traditional truck. Bird droppings, bugs, and road salt are very common things that you might get on your truck, and having to make sure to immediately clean it after getting dirty is definitely an inconvenience. We'll have to see how it makes an impact for those that don't care about this long term. We're unsure how long contact is required before these substances will actually start to corrode the body. On first read, it sounds like if someone were to park their truck outside, bird droppings got on it, and they came back from vacation, it might be damaged. We need more information, but this does present a potential problem for this truck, and I'll be sure to keep you posted. As we've mentioned many times before, this truck has a really unique shape that leads to a lot of angular edges and sharp corners. One video has been making the rounds lately that points to a potential safety flaw in the design in a pretty unsuspecting place. Out of spec put a carrot in the corner of the frunk just below the windshield and slowly lowered the hood. The sharp corner here sliced through it with no effort whatsoever. If someone were to get their finger caught in that corner while the hood was being closed, the results would be terrible. Many feel this is a design flaw, that an openable compartment like this, especially one with such sharp edges, wouldn't have some kind of pinch sensor to prevent accidents. Now, of course, getting a finger or carrot stuck in any kind of closing car door is going to be an unpleasant experience. However, the problem is exacerbated by elements of this truck's design, as we can see how cleanly it cuts through the carrot while being closed at a slow speed. The sharp corners on the Cybertruck are definitely exclusive to the Cybertruck. While the Cybertruck certainly has its fair share of problems, I do want to stress that Tesla has otherwise created a groundbreaking vehicle in a number of ways. But let's say that you were one of the first people to buy this vehicle, and for whatever reason, you've decided that it just doesn't make sense for you to keep it. In that case, it's very likely that you would be out of luck. Tesla has included a clause in the purchase agreement for this truck that allows them to sue owners for up to $50,000 if they try to sell their car during their first year of ownership. The contract states that if an owner wants to get rid of the car, they are obliged to offer the car back to Tesla at a reduced cost. Only if Tesla declines the car are you allowed to sell it on the market. This is actually a somewhat common stipulation that appears on the first runs of a lot of niche vehicles, but it's usually not very popular. After all, if you've purchased the vehicle, why would the manufacturer have a say in what you can do with it after delivery? This move is largely designed to prevent people from buying limited vehicles to resell at huge markups, but if you simply decide you don't want your truck anymore, you may be in for some big losses with the Cybertruck. We have not seen what prices Tesla offers for car buybacks, but if curbing resellers was their goal, that's probably not going to be a great price. In light of all the criticism brought against the Cybertruck, and there are certainly fair ones, I think it's important to take a step back and look at the whole picture. While this truck certainly has issues, the response from owners has generally been very positive. As I mentioned, I had the opportunity to spend a few days with the Cybertruck, and I was really blown away by my experience with it. Making a product as radically innovative as this, from its steer-by-wire control, rear steering, 800-volt architecture, and so much more, there were always going to be some launch issues. For some, those issues may hold them back from purchasing, at least until a future version of this comes out and issues are ironed out. But for others, this truck has so much to offer that owning this first generation may be worthwhile. I sincerely hope that Tesla is able to quickly resolve many of these issues that customers are having, so that its release can be seen as an overall win for the industry without any sort of asterisk attached to it. If you are interested in watching my full Cybertruck review, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.